And we are live. Thanks everybody for stopping in. I appreciate that. Let me switch back to chats here. Gwen says hello. Hey Gwen, nice to see you. And Maylee's on there. Hey Maylee, nice to see you as well. Just so you guys know, my pin chat is Super Chats will be going to fund a new high quality camera, currently at 0 of 299. All right. So I apologize for taking so long to get back on the air. I have been doing taxes, getting recertified for my constable firearms thing, and it's just been kind of busy. But I figured I need to start streaming again, and I'm going to try and be streaming a little bit more regularly. Not quite ready to do braiding, so I figured we'd start off with a Gundam stream. Hope you guys like the thumbnail. I used GPT for that, and I'm going to try and get a little more flair and flash in the channel. Hopefully we can bring in some new people. Thank you for your patience. All right, let's see. Gwen says, just for warning, my Wi-Fi has been horrible all day, so I might get yeeted any moment. Apologies in advance. No worries on that. Other than I hope it gets fixes itself fairly soon. And Gwen says, "Why not nut?" I figured that's what that was. All righty. So let's see. We left off at, I believe, this stage. So we need B1 and B2 16. And all right, I don't remember what colors were which. That's C. I know the red one is A. So that's E. B is also red. All right. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I did. Let me go ahead and put on the magnifiers here. And Gwen says hello to Maylee. All right. So B1 and B2 16. All right, so that's this one here. Let's see if I remember how to use this thing. It's been a while. Oh, I hope you guys like the mat I got. This is the first time I've had a chance to use it. Figure it would present a better background. And I don't worry if I accidentally cut into it, because that's what it's designed for. All right, so let's see. Yep, that looks like 16 too. Let's see. Okay, so you folks can see this. So the camera thing, I went ahead. Well, I didn't go ahead and do anything just yet, but I was hearing Nick and Camelot discussing on one of their joint shows about the improvements that have been made in webcams as of late. Nick semi-famously has an overly expensive DSLR camera that he uses as his primary streaming camera, which involves getting a capture card and a few other things set up so you can use it, but it has a really large sensor. And there are apparently some webcams out now that are nearly that quality for a lot less money. So I was researching them and figuring out what actual sensor sizes worked. But my normal sources of advice were not being very helpful in answering my questions on that. So as part of Nick's super long Afroman trial streaming, he did today. Oops, wrong direction. Okay, that's the direction that goes. Yep, that's the right way. I sent him a question about it. He answered it. So I know which camera to get at this point. All right, we're good there. All right, B1 and 2, 21 and 22. So that's why I went ahead and figured I would include a super chat goal to try and help fund camera acquisition, because I would like to have a much better camera so you folks can see what I'm doing. But that's the goal behind that. Yes. And speaking of the Afroman trial, I haven't actually watched anybody covering the verdict, though I know Nick Starro has done that. But I do understand that the verdict came back in Afroman's favor on all counts, which is good to hear. Nice to know, even with a somewhat partisan judge, that the jury was able to come to the proper conclusion that free speech is still free speech, even if it hurts your feelings and makes it more difficult for you to work. Oops, that went in too deep. Let's see, can I fix my mistake a little bit? All right, just a little bit there. I think I'll leave it like that. I don't want to make it worse. I would like if my hands would get a little less wobbly. All right, so 21 and 22 on here. I caught most of Nick's stream today, so I didn't really catch all that much of day 1 and day 2. About half of day 2. When I picked up Nick's stream this morning, he was recapping the day 2 of the trial. But one of the things I've a long time ago got used to, as far as accepting that it was involved with being a constable, is I have to be able to accept it to where people may say horrible things to me, and I'm just going to have to put up with it because that's part of the job. And if I can't handle that, I shouldn't have that job. And same goes with police, sheriffs, and other people there. I know it can be really frustrating, but if you can't put up with that and do your job properly, then maybe it's not the job for you. Got a little bit on here. It looks like it might interfere with putting them in. So I'm doing a little touch up here. Maybe if I brace it on the mat, that might work a little bit better. So I did get my taxes done, and waiting for the accountant to get back to me to see if I getting anything back, which unfortunately is likely to go to fixing our drains in the house. It's a 56 or 54-year-old house, and all the drains in here are cast iron galvanized, and they are not holding up long term, so we need to get it replaced. It's not overly expensive, it's just making sure we get the budget for it. But Mrs. Torn is tired of plunging the kitchen sink, and I entirely understand why. So hopefully we'll be able to get that done with a little bit out of the taxes, considering for this last year, given that I did not do a lot of okay. I see. Okay. I would put that together, but that's the way it's supposed to go. All right. So that is after that. So C1 and C2 28. Now I forgot what I was saying about the about taxes. Since I did not do as much constable work as normal last year, I only did like about 30% of my normal amount, and I've been withholding on my day job based off of what I'd been doing. Hopefully we'll be able to get a decent refund this year. And yes, I know it's essentially, that was a little super glue that dropped on there, epoxy. We're essentially giving the government a tax-free loan or an interest-free loan for that. Um, but hey, I mean, if it's an upside for kind of crappy year, I'm willing to go for that. All right, so 28. Where is 28 on here? Ah, there's 28. Yeah, this knife cuts so well, I got to be extra careful using it. It's really easy to get it to cut something you don't want. Like a bit more than I wanted to there. Thinking maybe I need to get the little detail sander that this company also makes as a way to clean up without having to try and recut again. That seems to be my downfall, is trying to clean up my cuts. Give me a second, I'll put these in, I'll catch up with chat, and I'll show you something new. Okay. All right, so these. Okay. That goes in that orientation, and that gets put in there. Okay, there we go. Apparently, I didn't get that one cleaned up well enough. Let's touch that up. That fits in much better now. Alrighty, let's switch back to regular glasses. All right, let's see. Let me catch up with here. Oh, a lot of chat. Okay. Melee says, "Hey, how are you?" to Gwen. And Gwen says, "I'm doing okay. How are you doing?" And Gwen says, "I got a picture I've got to upload to my community post thingy." And Hunit says, "Hey, all recently got our Wi-Fi back. Congrats on that, Hunits. Welcome back." And Gwen waves at Hunits. And Melee says, "Doing good, thanks." And Melee says, "Hey, Hunits. Gwen, I like the blue mat. Looks kind of like my cutting mat I use for cutting quote strips and blocks." And Melee says, "March 18th is now officially Lemon Pound Cake Day." Yep, Afro Man won. Kestrel says, "Voltron, hey Kestrel, good to see you on. Welcome, welcome. This is actually a Gundam from the Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Rising Freedom. And I did another one from this series as well. And these are actually kind of fun to put together. So that's why I started working on this one." And Kestrel says, "Damn, I want lemon pound cake." Yep. And Melee says, "Hey, Kestrel." And let's see. Oops. Okay. Kestrel says, "Hi, Melee." And Melee says, "This morning I started watching back one of Jeff's trucking streams." Yep. I've got a steering wheel just over there that way a little bit that I need to hook back up and play some trucking streams. There's somebody who's fairly active in Flux's chats who's also on here occasionally, BS Simon, who I'm considering doing a game with him doing something like that. All right, so something new. I know I've had these before that I've tried to paint, except this one is not painted. This one is 3D printed multicolor because I have a new 3D printer. This is a Snapmaker U1. It has 4 separate print heads, so you can do 4 different colors or materials. So they actually have something that they call full spectrum as a add-on, which lets you do like little teeny bits of 4 different colors and blend them in ratio, so you get a lot more colors if you want it. Kind of like 4-color printing works in newspapers and comics and stuff like that. Um, so I may do that, but I'm not really going to start off doing too much. I've got a merchandise idea that I'm going to run past Rackets, where I'm going to try and do his channel logo in like a green and white 3D print for like either coins or like keychain fobs and stuff like that. I figure if he likes it, I can like make up a bunch of them and essentially like for the first couple of runs, maybe do it on consignment before, see if they sell well or not. That way he's not out anything and I've at least got a chance to do something with my printers that can make me some money, which will be nice. So let me switch back to me. There we go. And Bailey says, nice. Thank you very much. And Gwen says, Torrens Gaming Channel. Thank you for that. I'm going to try and do another Quarantine the Last Check zombie survival game tomorrow night sometime, probably about the same time. I do have a couple of Friday morning appointments, but they're not anything overly time consuming, so I should be able to do a nice Thursday night stream without having to crash out too early. And then Friday, I will probably do another regular stream on this channel. It might be more of the Gundam, depending on where we are in the process, or it might be something else. I mean, I do need to paint some miniatures. I've got some nice ones here, Tyranids, or faux Tyranids, whatever. I really should start painting them. In addition to possibly getting a new camera, I'm building a backdrop of 3D printed miniature stands so that when I do like a face front thing, my backdrop is actually something that looks nice and not the messy areas around here that I really need to clean up. All right, let's get back on this Gundam here. All righty. So, all right, so now we need D14 and D1 and 214 and B1 and 2 23s. All right, so 23 is that one. Starting to work our way through a lot of the reds, so. All right. Oh, speaking of the Afroman case, I don't know if you folks caught it, but there was that one guy that was being interviewed about being upset that Afroman made a comment about sleeping with the guy's wife, and the lawyer did kind of the trap question, essentially, that, it's not, it's obviously not true. And the guy said, well, I don't know. And it's like, wow, why would you say that? I mean, if anybody asked me about that, about Mrs. Torren, I believe I would say in absolute confidence that that's not something I'm going to worry about, because that's just not something that Mrs. Torren would do. She would flat out tell me she wanted to leave before she'd do that. And so, yeah, not something I would say. And that's going to be one of the bigger burns of the trial, if I remember right. All right, so that was B1 and 223, so D1 and 2. So those are the white ones, I believe. And those are 14. All right, so 14 is this one. There we go. All right. And otherwise, my other than the stresses I've had recently, my health has still been doing pretty good. I'm rather happy about that. I need to exercise more because I need to lose some weight. I'm not going to ask Rukeda for a shaming because That's not the way my mind works. Um, if I get something like that, I tend to want to do the opposite because I'm a contrarian, and I know that, so I try not to do things that are self-destructive. But why push the issue if I don't need to? All right, so this one goes a little bit of dust there. That goes there, and this one. Oh, yeah, that fits together nicely. It looks like that one goes there, and we have our Gundam high heel. Stylish shoes. All right, so that goes in there. And that goes in there. I am hoping to have Aussie Overlord's braid designed in the next week or so. Um, and after that, I am going to do a Shinto temple braid that I did in cotton a few years back. It's not one of the ones I've done on stream. I really enjoyed doing it. It was a fun braid to do. Um, so it'd be fun to do it again in actual silk. Gonna have to think over the colors I want. All right, so we need E1 and E2-4. I believe that's the dark blue. All right, E1 and E2-4. Yeah, there we go, that's 4. Let's make sure I get it in an area where you folks can see. So, yeah, that's one of the things I want to do is I've been looking back through my stuff, and while I've thought I got a nice camera, looking at other streams and stuff like that, even when it's like 1080p and not one of the higher resolutions, there are definitely cameras that give you a much better image. And I figure if I'm going to be doing things like braiding and miniature painting and Gundam assemblies like this, that I really need a much better camera. So that's why I'm planning to upgrade. I've also been seeing somebody about my ADHD to try and do more things that I need to do. So I'm hoping that I will continue to make improvements there. I think I mentioned previously on stream that I actually got all of my online constable training done in January, and normally I don't even start it till like mid-September at the absolute earliest. So I'm definitely having improvements with the medicine I'm taking for it. I did talk to Flux on one of her Project Zomboid streams, so I'm hoping I can get a joint stream with Flux coming up in the not too distant future. Probably a gaming stream or something like that. I don't have Project Zomboid, but I probably should pick it up and give it a try. All right, so let's see which way. Oh, leg goes in there, and let's see, is it? It looks fairly symmetrical, so I don't think it matters which way I do this. All right, there we go. We have a standing leg. That mounted there. Make sure that's in securely. And we have our other leg there. All right. So now we need to do C's 1 and 2, 22, 25, and 26. All right, those are B's and D's here. So the C's are the gray ones, which makes sense. The grays are mostly joints. All right, so 22, 25, and 26. All right. Let's move these a little out of the way. Okay, so 22, that's that one there. 22, and 25 and 26 are there. I got to be careful I don't actually like lay the blade up against something and then slice it down like you would with a non-ultrasonic blade, because it can actually like heat up and melt the plastic just touching it on the side. All right, so all right, so 22 and 25. And 26. All right, I think I had a couple spots on here that needed a bit of a touch up, but I'm not seeing it, so that may have just been an illusion. Turn that off. Oh, another one of the things I've been doing is for the coma here. When I sanded this smooth, it kind of like angled it a little bit and rounded it where the threads can like get in between them and catch. So it's not like you can see like a little bit of a gap there. I mean, it's even worse on the bottom where it got sanded a little bit too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make something called a shooting board, which is where you put this on a piece of wood where you got a fence, everything's lined up perpendicular, and you use a hand plane to shave the end to give it a nice finish and be perpendicular and remove just enough material. And then I'm thinking I might go ahead and make a pocket. I might probably do that after I do the face, just so that it's I don't have to worry about fibers breaking over when I do the hand plane. And that should make these good enough that I feel comfortable sewing them finally. All right, so I'm covering up my instructions here. All right, so we take this piece here, and it looks like it goes in that orientation. And the side without the long piece goes there. And the side with the long piece goes there. And there's a little pin that lines up. They should stick together. Yep, there they do. All right, let's repeat this. Okay, so that goes there. And carefully place that. So it goes all the way in. And this side, make sure it lines up with the locating pin. And there we go. That's pocketed. All right, now these go at the top with that facing inside. Now, let's see. They're the same both ways. Guess I'll just pick one to be right, one to be left. All right, so this one faces that way because I believe these are our hip joints. Excuse me. Right. Let's have something to drink so my voice doesn't go so bad. All righty. Let's go ahead and switch glasses and catch up with chat. Then we'll go on to the next stage. All righty. All right. Mealy says nice. And Gwen says Torrens. Okay, you already read that. And Mealy says Project Zomboid is fun to watch. Yep. No, most of the time she plays it, I'm at work, so I have to like listen to it because they don't like us watching our phones at work, so I have to listen. All right, so it looks like I already have everything together. And this is the front. And that means this is this leg. Let's pop that. It's a ball and socket joint. Oops. Let's get this back on. Oh, I was trying to use the wrong joint. That doesn't work nearly as well. All right. So all right, there we go there. All right. Then we need E's 1 and D's 13. So let's start with the E's. I'll get a cleaner cut from this angle. I'm going to try and upload some of the time lapses to my main channel. That was one of the things that I've decided I'm going to do. I'm going to increase my multi-stream locations. I admit this one did not get streamed to Rumble because I was running out of time at work to do it, and I wasn't going to wait another day to set up a stream because I have been waiting more than long enough, and I didn't want to let my procrastination brain kick in. So, all right, set this one back over there. But I'm going to try and get the channel to grow a bit more. So as a result, I will start streaming to Kick, Rumble, Twitter /X/Twixt, whatever you want to call it. I don't mind. I think these are white. Yep, D 1 and 2, 13. There we go. That's the one. So I have to get around to setting up an account for Kick. Nutstaku is also on Kick, and Nick Ricada was thinking of streaming there, given that they offered him a chance to essentially join as a partner and not have to like build his channel up to get a partner status. If he sets up an account there, it's 13 on this one too. So I figure I might wind up cross-pollinating there because I do super chat to Nick a fair amount, and I like Nextaku. He's definitely a little more energetic on the political scene than I am, but I really like his lore dives. All right, so these. Okay, there we go. They fit on that way. I could see the way it was supposed to go, but I wasn't quite sure how I could get it in there. So I just need to slide it down a little bit. There we go. Snapped in. All right. And then we need B1, 9, and 8. All right. So B is red. B1, 9, and 8. Alrighty. I realize I say alrighty a lot. I hope that's not annoying to people, at least not nearly as much as the people who say to fill their verbal spaces. And in case you can't tell it from the way I've been chatting, I am definitely in a much improved mood as of late. Being able to get my constable stuff lined up again, get taxes done, that kind of took a pretty big weight off my mind. I'm still trying to get up to speed in SolidWorks before I decide if I'm going to renew the license or not. Um, all right, so facing front, and that looks like the orientation. Oops. Looks like the orientation. These fit on the ball joints. And once they're on, okay, these fit there. So that fits there. All right, we're getting there. All right, and then the top. Let's see. Increases posable range of legs. Okay. All right, so the arms out a little bit. A little bit of an issue getting that on there. There we go. Let's put these back on. They're not on very snugly. At least. Yep, that's all the further they go on. And they pivot the way they're supposed to, so. Huh. Let me take this off and see if I can't improve that a little bit. Why is this not behaving the way I expect it to? All right, well, I'll give that a shot, see if that stays on. All right, so let me go ahead and switch glasses so I can make sure I'm in focus when I do this. Oh, and I finally got the right size box to ship my organizer drawers. This is down. I see. Oops. Don't know if I didn't get that tight enough. Okay, so I don't know what that down is for. All right, now let's get these back on. I think this one, once I get it posed the way I want it, I'm probably not going to do much more with it. All righty. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get you guys the up close image. There we go, nice and in focus. At least I think it is. We have posable legs. Kind of limited on. There we go. So let's see if it stays upright. I'm not as pleased with this particular addition to it. All right. Sorry about the out of focus thing. Well, at least it stands on its own. Let me get this back in position and I'll catch up the chat. All right, there we are. And Millie says, same at work when she's streaming. And have you watched Corey's trial? I caught a little bit of it, not a whole lot. Wasn't quite in the right headspace to listen to that type of trial, but I did catch the reading of the verdict and stuff like that. So what I knew about the case, that seemed very appropriate. And I did hear some recaps on it. And Millie says, looks awesome. Thank you very much. All right, so the backpack. All right, so we will set this aside and move on to the backpack. We need D11. Let's see, whites are Ds. Ds 11 and 12 for 1 and 2. Switch back over to these. Oops. Oh, and real quick, the 3D printer is going pretty good. We've doubled height since I started the stream. All right, so we are getting 11 and 12. Which are these ones here? They had a way to make the handle just a little bit smaller. It would be easier for my tiny hands. So did not get that cleanly cut off. There we go. That's much better. And let's try this again for this one. That was a much better cut. All right. So now I know what I'm looking for, and I'm getting to the point where I'm having fewer and fewer things on a sprue, so I can actually see what I'm going for if I know what it looks like. Much easier than just trying to find which numbers are identifying. There we go. All right, and we also need B1 and 220, which is the red ones. And as I say in Warhammer 40K with the orcs, red ones go faster. All right, 20, which is, there we go. That's that thing. A little bit of tumbleweed fluff. Oops, I left it on too long. I gotta wait for it to cool down some more. I'll just cut it out with these and clean it up if I need to. There we go. I think maybe I'll spray prime that miniature for the piece that broke off, and go ahead and maybe do a miniature painting stream Friday. Alrighty, there we go. So take one of these, and that one I think needs a little more cut off of it. All right, that looks better. All right, so what is the difference? Okay, so that looks fairly symmetrical. So the top one has solid. There we go. That one's rectangular. That one's square. So we do one of rectangular. Let's see, it's got a little bit of excess on there. And then one of the ones with the square goes on that end. It wasn't entirely symmetrical. There and there. All right, then I need C's 1 and 2, 16. C's are the grays. All right. 16 is this here. Okay. Okay, and these go in the little one with the hole in it. All right. Then, right side, we need C1 18, 19 and C2 38. All right, so this is C1. We need 18 and 19, which I believe are these two right here. Okay, C1 18, 19, C2 38. The 8 is right there. Alrighty. So this one goes this orientation. That goes that orientation. And this goes this orientation. I believe that's it. And okay. Then we have B1 6, C1 17. Okay, C1 17. And it's got to be careful, don't cut a feature away. And I see what it is. There's a little round peg on this side that's attached to the sprue, and I need to cut it so that I don't cut the peg off. I only detach it from the sprue. There we go. It was nice and clean. Okay. And B6, or B1 6. B1 6 is this one here. Okay. All right, so we look at it from this direction, and this one goes in All right, that looks like that's the way that's supposed to go in. Then we need E110, 14. All right, so I got B here, so I'll do B14 right away, which is this one here. And E110. Okay. Maybe cutting it from this side will be a little easier to do. Just have to be careful not cutting into the faces on there. Let's see, good enough, or probably good enough, but that's at least better than worse. Okay, that one's back off. All right, so with it that way, this fits on that spot, and this fits there. Okay. Oops. Make sure. Okay, so all right, so these are all on the right side. All right, so I need A1 and A4. Right, A is over here. And okay, that's A1, that's A4. This one has 4 connection points rather than the usual 3. All right, there is A1 or A4, and now we're going to do A1 there, there, and there. All right, so A1, A4, then E7, E17. That's this long one here. Oops. That one's a bit iffy. Right. A little bit of melted plastic. All right. And D110. So D1 is, I believe, this one. Nope, that's D2. D110. There we go. All right. Go ahead and take the base one there. And looks like that goes this way. Press those together. And this one, I think this one needs to get put in first. I see. That actually holds them together. So this one goes in here. And this one connects up there. Make sure it's all snug in. Maybe I should try and do the clamp with like a regular X-Acto knife or razor blade. All right, so this needs a bit of a cleanup there. I think that's probably the better option. Start doing that going forward. Okay, that lines up better there. All right, so that's that. Then we need E1, 2. And E1, 2. So that's this one here. All right, so let's see how well that works using the different method. I left a little bit extra on there. I'm thinking my box knife is not that sharp at the moment. So let's make use of the cutting mat. Yeah, I think they're looking a little bit better. Then when I try and touch it up with the ultrasonic. Okay, so in this orientation here, this will fit on there. And one of these will fit on that way. And then this piece fits on here. And this piece fits on there. So, yeah, that's got a nice pivoting joint there. All right, next one is the left side. I've been doing this about an hour. I do still have to get up in the morning, so I'll probably wrap it up here. Let me catch up with chat, see if there's anybody I can redirect you folks to. And then remember to plug in my ultrasonic knife, so it'll be ready for next time. All right. No, I do not need the window pop-up there. Yeah, let's see. Millie says, oh, yeah, did that. And looks awesome. Okay, I think we're good there. Hey, we got up to 10 people. That's pretty good for not having streamed for a couple of weeks. Let's see. Millie says, nice progress. Thank you for that. Oh, speaking of progress, let's take a quick look. All right. In case you can't guess what this is actually a desk organizer where the let's see if I can. Can you see my mouse? Oh, that just pauses it. Okay. I guess you can see my mouse. This is a desk organizer. It's going to have some drawers, pen holder, and it's in the shape of a 45 ACP round. So there is the rim on it and the groove for extraction. And yes, this is going to print something that's about 260 millimeters high in about 10 hours, I think it's what it's estimating. So in the course of an hour, we've done a pretty decent chunk here. And as we get a little bit higher up, it's not going to be, solid, and it'll print up higher faster. So, all right, let me switch back to here. And then let's see who we can send you folks to for a redirect. All right, we will go in and edit and customization and add a redirect. Let's see who's available. Looks like Megan Fox and Runkle. I haven't sent you folks to Runkle in a while. He's covering the Afroman verdict, so I will send you folks there. And say hi to Ian for me. I will probably join you in a few minutes. Thanks again, everybody, for stopping in. I appreciate that. Again, I'm going to probably game on the Fun channel tomorrow night for a little bit, probably around 8:30 or so is when I'm going to start. Mrs. Torn is going into work a bit early, so she'll be gone before I start streaming. And then Friday, I will try and have either another Gundam stream or a painting stream. And I am going to try and work on getting Hayden Aussie Overlord's braid design done. So, and Mary says Runkle streaming. Yep. And Mary says thanks for the stream. Thank you all. And as always, everybody, stay safe and happy braiding.